Katie, can you still hear us?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Wow, that's really clear.
10-4.
Yeah, we're just done with that. Okay, so I can do that. And now I got to get Zoom back up. I'm sorry, guys. See, it's not because it's me. How do I get there? Huh. I'm in progress. Show video. There we are. Okay. Sorry, it took me a minute.
All right. Yeah, you're going.
I'm going. Look at me. I'm amazing so far. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Now don't touch it.
Yeah, we're not going to touch it. Thank you for your patience.
All right, I guess we're all set. Call this meeting to order. Pledge of allegiance.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen.
Review and approve the 2022 revenue and expenditure.
Everybody have one of these? Well, we got to call the order. Budget. Oh,
Okay. Budget committee.
For pizza?
Yeah, pizza's
Yeah,
good.
call the budget committee meeting to order as well.
we're all set.
What do you have in store for us?
So I have in store for you a story of revenue. Lovely, lovely revenue sharing. 2 days after we concluded our meeting, they magically posted revenue sharing numbers on the state website. And we had anticipated $450,000. And guess what we're scheduled to get?
More.
$795,000. So Peg and I thought long and hard about just leaving it and growing our fund balance. And then I thought, okay, we should probably talk to Ron, our auditor, and see what other towns are doing and see what he would recommend. So because I'm afraid that there's all this money, but is there really all this money? Well, apparently we're flush with money because the state also got aid like we got, which they're putting into state revenue sharing. So if you're going to depend on revenue sharing, this is the year to do it, apparently. So Ron said, yes, anticipate more. That he's our auditor. So I had to call Bob Butler and say, well, maybe we should anticipate more, because he had thought of that and I had said no. And I had said to the auditor, I'm just a little nervous about this. And he said, well, I think you should anticipate more. So then the question is, do you anticipate the full 795? And my theory was the difference between the 450 and the 795, split that in half, and that's what we should anticipate. So that's how we came up with that number. Because I don't want to be overly enthusiastic about revenue. It just makes me uncomfortable. So we can anticipate that additional money, and that's $266,475. So then I went back and said, okay, what could we adjust? So basically we went back, and I can go through what we adjusted. So we fulfilled what the select board had agreed to do with so technically in last year, we had renewed my contract, and I had put off my increase from last year, and I also put off my increase from this year. So that is reflected in, if you look on this sheet, which is the budget summary sheet, That difference is $11,563. And then we went through, and since the non-union department heads and non-union employees in certain departments did not get increases, we gave them their increases in assessment services. I'm going to skip over finance customer service, town clerk, because we realized that in town clerk, we had not restored those hours in town clerk. So that's why that's a little higher than some of the others. Fire services, that is strictly for the officers. We'd already given to the firefighters, but the officers, that's an increase, and they didn't take an increase last year or this year. Police services would reflect the chief and our reserve officers. Shellfish management is our shellfish warden. Emergency management, that would be our emergency management coordinator. Public works would be John, and also a portion of Tanya, and a portion of Tanya's, the administrative assistant. General assistance, that would also be our general assistance administrator. Recreation would be our recreation director, because although his hours were restored, it did not reflect an increase last year or this year. Planning and development would be Stanley, our code enforcement officer. So those would be those increases. And then we went into capital and we did two things. We put money in. I hope it's in here. If not, I know what it is. We put money into the municipal building for heat and air conditioning issues that we're going to have, but we know about. So we put $50,000 into there, and we put $40,000 into fire. And the reason being, we have applied for a fire truck to replace an engine through FEMA, the firefighter grant. And every year we've gotten further and further in the round. Now, we did apply for it last year for the ladder truck, even though we've already taken receipt of the ladder truck. We got to the final round. So my experience has been with getting these grants, if you get it, you're going to get it after the fourth year. It's normally the fifth, sixth year. It takes a few years. So they're used to us. They're used to our application. We keep getting further and further in the round funding. So we put that in there because you're going to have to come up with 10%. So that's a guesstimate. It also gives us a little bit more, and if it doesn't come to fruition, we can save it for another year. Or I wish we had a capital for great ideas line item, but we don't have a line item for great ideas. So that to me would be something that we'd have to come up with money in probably November.
For the truck.
Right, and if not, it just sits there.
Yep.
And then you haven't heard anything, and then we could always move it too. I mean,
Sure.
you guys could always come back if you don't. I mean, I know I love calling you in all the time and saying, "Hey, let's meet. Maybe we can move something around." But that would be one option we could do. We could also move it someplace else. I mean, that's up to you. But I just thought, and I shared this with, I think I was talking, because I don't remember who I was talking to today, that that might be something that makes a little bit of sense to have, so that we have it if we need it. And if we don't, like I said, you can move it around. We just have to have a special vote for that at some point. But of course, you guys would get another bite at the apple.
On the fire truck grant, which truck is the grant that you're thinking is 40,000?
It's the one in the big capital plan.
Okay, so
That's
it's not
next.
the ladder truck.
No, God, no, we just got one of those.
Well, I know, but you said
It's an
apply
engine.
grant for trucks that you already have.
Well, we had applied, so
Yeah.
our last, I think, 3 attempts were for the ladder truck. And each time we got closer and closer and closer. We can't apply for that now because we already have it.
Okay,
So now we would
This is-
start on the engine.
all right, it's the same
Pumper
grant
tanker.
process. but
Right.
new-
So, but they know us now.
Yep.
The secret to those grants is you keep applying. And then they get to know you. And eventually they feel really bad that they've ignored you for 6 years and they give you a truck. It's really,
Cool.
I'm oversimplifying it, but
Yeah.
there is a talent to writing it and there is, but
Sure.
what's been so exciting for us, and Max is new to it, so it's been really exciting for him, is that each year we've gotten further and further. So they release, I think it's 3 or 4 rounds. So if you get a letter right away, you know, okay, we didn't do good. So we made it to the 2nd round, I think, the first year, and then we've gotten to each round. So that's been exciting.
And this grant would cover 90% of the truck? And it's a $400,000 truck?
Again, that's,
We don't know. Like,
you know, it's like asking me to out 20 years to figure out what an ambulance is going to cost.
So if we didn't have this 40,000 in capital and we got the grant, we'd have to come up with 40,000.
We'd have
or
to come
whatever.
up with 40,000. So you'd be coming back anyway.
Yeah.
We'd be asking you for it. We'd have to go to town vote and get it.
But if you put it in this,
But if we put it in this and we
It goes
get
to
it, we
town
don't
vote.
have to do that.
and if we don't use it, it goes into capital.
Well, it goes into capital fire, but again, that's something we could move around, and I would explain that to the chief is don't count your eggs, don't count your chickens before your eggs hatch. So it was one of those things that when you're looking ahead, especially when you're trying to plan for a grant, but that was one of the things, and I'll be honest, it struck me the night before. So, Bill.
Well, where do I start? Is these increases that you're talking about, will that get the town office open on Fridays?
It will get the town office, it will not get the town office open yet onto Fridays, but it will get you open to 7 o'clock at night,
Monday through
Tuesday nights.
Tuesday night?
Tuesday nights.
What would it take to get the town office open 5 days a week?
So part of the other where I didn't go back into finance was where this would also include getting Peg some part-time help. One of our issues that we're having is, and as we systematically increase the hours, is it the hours or is it the manpower? So the public hours are going to go Monday through Thursday, 9 to 5. Well, I shouldn't say that. Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, 9 to 5, and then staying late till 7 o'clock, the entire staff. Because we talked about this in the office. How should we schedule these? How should we schedule these hours? What do we want to see out of these hours? And when we were open 4 days a week prior to COVID, 4 days a week, and we were doing, I think it was 7:30 to 6. Most of our people were coming around the 8:30 mark, and we had a few at night. But what we've experienced since we went back to this is people saying 6 o'clock, 8:30 isn't really working, 6 o'clock isn't enough, so we're going to move it to the 7 o'clock. But not everybody needs to come in just for BMV, because that was our impression. What do you really come in for? Some people are coming in for marriage licenses. Some people are coming in for BMV. So if we all stay till 7 late one night, that takes care of whoever walks through the door, and we'll all be there. And we picked a Tuesday night so that the select board was here, so that if people are coming to the meeting, we'll be in the office, except for me, I'll be in here. Or maybe if they come in here, they might walk into a select board meeting and be excited. So that's where we're at. We're at 36 hours with the 7 o'clock at night. You're gonna have to go up. I can do that calculation. I should have done that calculation. I didn't even think about it because we were pretty good with the 36. And we added the 10 grand for Peg to have somebody part-time, because that's where we're hurting. And that's where it's hurting me. And I went over this with select board. Are you guys okay with me explaining my drama? Is we lost one position in the office.
Town clerk.
Well, no, because really Marcus has filled that in.
Oh, well,
But, you know, Mel did help.
oh, Mel. Okay.
Mel did help, the receptionist
Right.
did help our finance director. And I think the one mistake that I made last year was cutting Peg too far back. And I'll be honest with you, we all worked well more than our 40 hours. We just didn't get paid for it. And I mean, anybody could drive by and see us here. I think everybody probably has. But my issue became then, I'm also covering for Marcus because he doesn't know everything he doesn't know yet.
Mhm.
So we're going to hire a new clerk. It ended today. None of them are clerks except 2 from New Jersey. But we're going to have to train that person. So I'm going to be training that person. I'm not going to have the time to help Peg like I've been helping Peg. So I've kind of been like the person running around backfilling all these positions. So having somebody dedicated to Peg, and that's why there's that extra 10,000 in there. That's why I skipped over finance. That's more. It's 15,000. That includes actually like 12,000 or a little bit more. I think she put 12.5 in there for somebody on a part-time basis to come in a few hours a week and help her. So we're right now with this still a little bit less than we were back in 2019. But you're going to get a 7 o'clock evening, one night a week. So every Tuesday, you're going to know we're here till 7 o'clock. And part of the problem is we thought about going back to what we were prior, which was 10-hour days. And 10-hour days are just, it's a grueling. 4 10-hour days are just grueling. And we would like to concentrate those late night people so that we're actually doing something. And I actually thought about, because I think it was the Waldeboro Historical Society commented that we should be open on Saturdays.
Oh, yeah, I said that. Yeah. That office.
No,
be
the
open
Waldeboro
same time.
you didn't get what I was
I
saying.
know what you
The
said.
Waldeboro Historical
Yeah.
Society. I thought it was you.
It was
I didn't
me.
think you took like a vote and said the
But
Waldeboro.
it should be the same as the transfer station. I've always said that.
But our issue with that is, and we did have a
You get 2
conversation.
days off, Sunday, Monday, right?
Well, no, our issue with that is then we lose a day where other places are open that we need to have a conversation with, like the state. And it doesn't make for a good productive day if there's places we cannot have conversations with and talk to. So that was, but I wanted to let you know, we actually did have an actual real life discussion about that. And like I said, we picked Tuesdays. It reflects the select board meeting when people might be more apt to come in. And I think 7 o'clock gets people past that 6. And we're going to keep track so that in case we have to modify. Most people were coming in like around when we were doing this, because we could go back and look on the receipts, that magical 5:45 to 6, there was quite a few people who came in then. So we're thinking that if we go later, it would be better. So that's where we're at with the hours. And I mean, if select board ultimately has to.
Well, I think the public in general wants to get back to normal, everybody.
I think everybody
And
does.
I said everybody, and I think the public that we represent wants to be able to come in here Monday through Friday. Now, the Tuesday night till 7 is great. And by getting back to normal, I look at your plan and I'm not really kicking it out the window, but I think the library should be taken in consideration and get them back to normal. I mean, I understand you got more money, you get money, I get that,
Mhm.
but you take like the person that gets the stimulus check for $1,400, they haven't filled their oil tank, but they go out and buy a $1,400 stereo system, just to, oh, I got $1,400. Are these increases, other than PEG, really gonna jeopardize anybody saying they don't want to work here? I don't think it will. Because you're gonna give them more hours, their check's going up because they're getting some of their hours back, yes or no?
Well, I'll be very honest with you. I think that was the one department and the only department last year that was cut,
PEG,
pay.
oh, no, and I'm not disputing it.
And it was cut and there was no increase, and then there was no increase when we originally were going to do this. That was a hard pill for a lot of people to swallow. I had an employee who was buying a house. I'm sure that impacted their abilities. Another, I think that given what this last year has been, people are used to not having it open on Friday. I think the late night will help it a lot. I have no problem reevaluating it as we get into next year, but it was a way to show some type of appreciation. And I mean this seriously. Not one of the employees complained, but at the same token, they gave and I had written this in my letter, and I don't want to bring it up because I know you're like, well, but they really did do above and beyond what they were paid and asked to do. And from Rose, Peg, Tanya, Marcus, for sure, he was all over the place. But when you look at that core group of people, they were here for hours and hours and hours. So I do believe they deserve the increase. I do.
What's the percentage of the increase? Was it like,
It was,
what's it break down? 1%, 2%, 2.5%?
well, 2 from last year and 2 for this year. So it's a 4. Which is less than what the union employees got in both years.
That's a whole nother sticky wicket.
Well, I'm just saying,
And to continue.
I mean, you could have done a stipend, but, typically they would have gotten COLA.
Well, what's COLA right now? 3%? 2.5%?
I think, yeah. So, I mean, if you did COLA last year and COLA this year, it would have been more than that, so.
And going under capital reserve, right under your own little notes, Julie,
Where's my notes?
in the book, and we're talking about service paving reserve.
Mm-hmm.
You stated right in there, sticky wicket coming up, we're gonna have to fund for 5 miles. Here's a chance with 266,000 that you think we're gonna get. Maybe give Johnny a couple more miles this year.
Well,
So next year,
he already has money in there for what he needs to do his 5 miles this year.
I understand that.
And I see what you're saying. I do.
understand that.
And we can. These were just suggestions.
I get that he's got what he wants this year.
Yeah.
But if,
And
if this thing takes a spiral, and we're right back to where we were 8-9 months ago, back here again, cut.
Well, I'm hopeful that as more people get vaccinated and this goes away, we'll get back to normal. I think we left enough in our fund balance is going to be in good shape. I believe the fund balance is going to be in good shape. Our revenues are going to exceed what we expected last year, and that's all going to go into fund balance. I have no problem if you would like to rearrange some of this and massage it. I have no problem with that, but this was where Peg and I felt, okay, we didn't put any money at all in the municipal building, if you'll recall, in the original budget line item. And we had to have some significant issues repaired, at least, on the HVAC system. And we knew that, we even put that on the non-binding questions earlier this year. So that was why we said, okay, let's put 50 there. Could we do with 30? Yes. But we put 50 there because we don't know what we're going to get into. I know at least two of those AC units are going to have to go and be replaced. So.
Well, I would just like to ask the selectmen to consider the library back at full, get them back to normal. Getting the town office back to normal, 5 days a week, and some paving money for Johnny. So I'm just recommending it.
Julie, did they tell you what percentage of the actual taxes came in that the revenue sharing is based on now?
It should be right there.
I thought they were going to do it at 3.75 instead of the 5.
Oh, it is at 3.75.
It's 3.75,
Yeah.
they stuck with that?
They stuck with that.
Well, that would be nice if they get it back up to 5, and then we're talking.
Well, they didn't plan on that in this
Yeah.
with this.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you look, it's 795, 819. It's on the very back.
All right. The other thing that I was thinking about, I know that revenue sharing is intended to stabilize the municipal taxes and aid the certain municipal services both. It's a two, so it's a this and a that. So has any of that money gone to stabilize our taxes more?
You are now, if you look at it, you are you're 0.15% under
So the current mill rate is 8.
your mill rate, yeah.
Okay, but what of this money? This money is intended for that, the revenue sharing money is. So are you using any of this money that we just got? Or
No.
we just realized?
That's the balance. We can either restore some things and give back some things that were taken away, or
It's supposed to be an and, it's not an and or. Though I know from, when they put the revenue share, when that came in as a statute, that was.
well, I
one
guess
of
I
them.
would look at it
Yeah.
like, if we were to put it all back in.
I don't mean all back in.
No, I mean, you're $3,310, I guess you could say, out of that we used. And we haven't fully anticipated it towards reduction. It's, to me, it was a way of rewarding, and I'll say it, that's what it was. It was everybody else got to keep their hours, everybody else got their raises. So when it comes to at least the raise part, that was what was behind my mind, was that particular staff that truly did feel the pinch of the COVID.
I agree with that, and I think
yeah.
they should be rewarded.
And I mean,
I do
we
agree with that.
and I don't mind.
Yeah.
I
But
think
I
we should
just-
have a conversation about paving. I have no issue with that
Yeah.
whatsoever.
I just didn't know where the
Or the
other
file.
piece of it,
Right.
where the other part, where we put that to address that part of the statute.
So, Jan-
Well, I think it's hard when you're looking at revenue sharing after COVID to look at it for that's what it's used for.
Well, I mean, that is what it's used for. That's what it's been used for since then.
I
When
don't,
it came in.
I guess
Yeah.
that's what it's been used for. But since I've been here, we've always used revenue sharing as a revenue. I don't know that it's ever been used as a vehicle to reduce.
That's,
Essentially, it does, reduces taxes because.
You're not raising it.
Right.
well, I just wanted to be, when people ask, and I know there are people who know that's what it is.
I mean, it
I
would
wanna
be great.
I want to be able to say,
You could make the argument
Mhm.
that you could say, we're not having to use other funds to restore this.
and so we don't know what the mill rate is yet, but we're under.
We're
what we
well
are.
under LD1.
Right, but I mean, we're under the 18 point, whatever we are.
It depends on what the school district does. That's
Right,
been the
they're voting
driver, that's
tonight.
been the driver of the mill rate. It hasn't been us, it's been the school.
We have not
Yeah,
been the
but we
driver.
make the decision on what,
We do.
we make the decision on what the
Yep.
mill rate is going to be.
Yep.
Okay. I just like the balance.
Bob? Let me just understand the numbers for a second, Julie. We were at 450 on the revenue sharing under the old budget, is that correct? We're bumping that up. The revenue sharing number is going to become 795.
No. We're not going to fully anticipate that revenue sharing number.
So you're not anticipating 795, you're anticipating 256 of that.
266,
Plus
475.
450.
Plus 450.
Yeah,
So
256
Plus what we had
450.
before.
So you're giving yourself some cushion, just in case they
I'm
don't
giving cushion.
come through.
Correct.
That's another, yeah, okay, that's fine. I think that's wise.
Right.
So if we do get everything, we're that much further ahead of the game. And of the 256 you are taking as revenue sharing and putting into the budget, you're allocating some to capital, some to bringing staff up to snuff on where they should be, and still putting some aside into the general fund, into the rainy day fund. Is that a fair summary?
Well, not at that 266 number, no. That's not a fair summary.
Okay. so-
Because there's another 266, 475 that we can say is going into the rainy day fund. That's not part of that 266, 475. You know what I'm saying?
No, I don't understand.
We're doing half, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Half
half
of the
would be
difference.
172.5. Half of the difference between the 795 and the 450 is 172,500. If we're just to assume we're only going to get part of what they say we're going to get and split the difference,
I see what you're saying. 'Cause
the amount available to us
I'm
is
looking at
170.
what Peg has as the difference between the two.
I'm not sure how she got that number.
So how much would you be putting for a rainy day after the 266,
So
475?
hold on a minute. I actually gotta do this math.
So it looks like the increase to the budget we're looking at is 140.
143.37.
And that includes the capital and the wage
Correct.
change.
And
the 40.
So I think, hold on a minute. I think she made a whoops. I think she fully anticipated the difference.
In all that.
Right.
So that would be 126, 138 that's left over.
Yeah, that's what she did. No, she didn't. I don't know where that 266 increase in revenue of 266, 475 came from. Bob, do you have a calculator over there?
Calculator on my phone. What do you need?
What is the difference between 450 and 795, 819?
345,000.
Divide that by 2.
That's gonna come out at 175.
Mhm.
The 170.
That was
Yeah.
the number, 173, but that was the
That
number
was the
that
number
I
we
was
were
thinking
playing
we
with,
were gonna
right.
be shooting for.
The difference between the 716, 475 and 450 is 266.
Yeah, I think,
I don't know where that came from.
Well, it came between, for the difference of those two, but
Yeah.
not cut in half.
Right.
That's the full amount.
yeah, I don't know why it says that in the revenues.
Yeah, fine. Oh, yeah. So they gave us 795 though, right? That's what they were intending,
Correct.
Allocated.
Yeah.
Not given yet.
right?
So you just subtract 450
Not to
from
the old lady saying so.
795 and divide by 2, you
Yeah.
get 175.
Yeah.
Give or
Right.
take, yeah.
So the total revenue, so the 266, 475 that's there, I think that's the difference. I don't know what she would have increased in revenue other than that.
Does that include the 40,000 for the fire truck?
It's a revenue issue. The actual expenditure is fine.
Does it include on the municipal revenue sharing sheet, there's 2 columns, there's REV1 projected and REV2 projected, and then the total projected is 795. But the Rev1 projected is 610.
I can't tell you. The revenue number should go up by that 175 number.
We lost somebody.
I'm gonna call her.
450 from 610 would be about 260.
Right, but I think it's a error in the worksheet. So I think what we just need to do is realize that we're adding to the revenue number. Bob, what was that nexus again?
It was 175, that's what I thought.
Right, we're adding 175 to the revenue.
And if we actually get the full amount, then we've got some more money to put away and have,
Correct.
in case they fail us the next time around.
Right. I don't know where she gets that the revenue changed from March versus April, 266,475. Wait, here she goes. 795 minus 450 equals 345. Half of this is 175. 175 plus 459 equals 622.50. We said we'd split the difference, budgeted 622.50 instead of 450. Hey, so the 266, 475. Explain that to me. Right. Right. Mhm. I'm doing the math. I know you did. But I think that somehow that's not right. because if the difference between, I'm sorry, guys, if the difference is from 450 to 795 is what, Bob?
345.
345 divided by is 175. That's what we would have increased the revenue by. Right. But when I do the 622, but how can then the revenues go up if we only increased it by 175? How did it go up 266, 475? Yeah. She's doing the math for us.
Difference in the capital reserve.
So, but shouldn't it just be that is what is increased in the revenue? Because that's the only revenue change we made would be that 175. Okay. Okay. Right, but on the yellow sheet, or is that? Correct. So your total revenue sources come out to be 2952036. So that 266 475 is just a error in Excel. Okay.
266.
Okay, I gotcha.
I know.
Okay,
She should tell you that.
I gotcha. Okay,
She just explained it.
okay, thank you. No problem, bye. Yeah, no, she said the yellow one is right, and the revisit number is right. So the 2952036 is right. The 266 must be an Excel error. Fortunately, she doesn't have the computer at home.
Julie,
Mhm.
on the gray stripe at the bottom, you have capital reserve fund. Increase in that is 126,922. That plus the 140, the total up above equals 266. So you got 90,000 going into other financing uses. Is that the 40 and the 50 for the capital?
That's for the capital.
Okay, so what's the 126 in the capital increase? Capital.
I don't know what that is. I don't know.
I think that may be where her error.
I think that's where the error is.
Yeah.
And that makes up the 266 total.
Right, but if you look at the yellow sheet, those revenues, that revenue number 292952036 is the right revenue number. You know what I can do? I can do this easily.
And the yellow sheet, that's the new numbers that you proposed.
Correct.
But if we go by the yellow sheet, she's taking the entire amount.
Almost, yeah.
Yeah.
All but
The
3,000.
450 plus she's taking that entire amount and putting it into revenue. And that's not inconsistent with what we talked about that morning. again, the idea was to use half of it and put away half of it. To
The
give
right
ourselves
number.
cushion.
The right number for revenue sharing is the 622.5.
622.5.
Right. You're taking the difference between 450, which was what we budgeted,
Right.
and 795.
And-
So that's half the increase, yeah.
And then half that, and that's what we were putting into the revenue.
Okay, but
That's the 170.
that
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
But that doesn't appear to be what she's done.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to rework this.
It appears as though because the variance is 792,000, it just, the variance should be about 175,000.
Right.
I have no problem coming back to look at this after Peg's had time. I know she's been under incredible pressure. Had time to work through this again. If that's,
So where do you think the error is, Bob?
I haven't looked at it long. I just don't, I think she's taken the entire amount,
Short of three-
including
short of
the
3,200.
incremental amount.
If you look
The
at-
622.5 is the right number.
Well, she's got 72,606, 792,606.
On what, where are you looking?
At the top,
At the
top of the
top,
yellow page. Right at the top.
at the yellow
It says
sheet.
Fiscal year 20 versus 2021 versus 2022.
Right, but 21 was 21, and this is 22. This one isn't last month's budget and this month's budget.
Oh, so you're looking at 2022 is not the verse.
Right. The verses is from 21 to 22. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
So we should be looking at the 22.
Exactly.
You should be looking at the 22.
Yeah.
So if you
Okay,
look at
so
municipal
where-
revenue sharing, 622.5 is correct.
Okay.
Yep.
The error is on the white sheet, March versus April 2022.
Oh, that's the difference. That's what it's like 173.
Correct.
So the 622 number,
Is the right number.
right, deducted from, and if you take the 173, add the 173 to that, you come up with 795 total.
So that's where that came from. Okay, we
Yeah.
figured that out.
So in terms of the warrant itself, if we're going to approve that tonight, we need to make sure that the number.
Well, I did the warrant and I just added that number, so I think we should be right. I think we should be right.
Okay.
Yep, okay.
We will double check me,
Yeah.
but we should be right. The yellow sheet, I think, is right. I think it's the summary sheet, this one, that's not. Because the total is 143,337 for what we increased. Peg's talking to me. So calculation error on the white sheet, the difference in March revenue versus today is 172.5
This is 266.
versus the 266.
Okay.
So that number's gonna be changed.
So that number should be 170.
Right, the 266, 475 should be the 172.5.
That makes sense.
Okay.
There. Should love it when there's a
See,
solution.
if she was here, it would have been a lot quicker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not her fault, she's not.
So what is the gray line at the bottom of capital reserve fund?
That is what we had voted on.
The 420,968.
Nope.
The March number is 420,968.
No, that was
No.
2021.
That's what we approved on March 25th.
Yeah,
Okay.
right. And so what's the difference there? Why is the extra $126,000?
It's actually 547 now,
Well, why did we increase it from then to now?
because that's the money, extra money we're getting.
What is the?
Yeah, but we didn't
budget?
increase capital by 126,922. We only increased it by
By 90.
90,000.
And that's the line that's up above in other financing uses, right? That's the 90,000.
Hold on.
We're gonna put in that. That's my understanding.
I see what you're saying. But that's where they get the 126 for some reason.
See,
Right.
Peg needs help. Yes. What is the shaded? Bob? Your total capital, though, is going to be
Total
Your-
capital was 429.68.
now it's 510,698.
So she's increased it by $90,000. And that's exactly what you wanted to do. You wanted to put in 40 for the fire truck
Right.
and another 50.
510,698 is what I have on the warrant.
That's the number.
So we should cross out under the bridge, that should be 510,698 instead of 457, 547.
Right.
Yep.
510,698 is what she has under FY 2022. I would say the summary sheet got away from Peg at 8 o'clock last night. That's what I would say. So this yellow sheet reflects the proper number.
But just not be 250, but it should be 510,968.
That's what it is.
698. Yeah, right. Okay,
Oh, the yellow sheet.
510,968. Not sure.
Bless you, dear.
Thank you.
It says 510,968.
Is that what your warrant says?
So that increases the fire equipment reserve by
510,968.
40,000. That makes it 60,500.
I'm sorry, what was that, Bob?
60,500 for the fire equipment reserve.
Correct.
And then for the town office, it was 50 for the town office, right?
Correct. 50,000 for public buildings.
Then we need, I don't see that in the detail here. So we need to add a line.
Well, but you're getting detailed down in here.
No, I'm just talking about the warrant. We detailed it on the warrant.
But Bob, it is on the warrant.
The public buildings,
I'm looking right at it. Under Article 29, E.
I've got surface paving. Oh, are we looking at different versions of it?
Look up above it. I might have, look up above. Public buildings.
I mean, we must be looking at different versions.
It was over there on your table.
Oh, I'm looking.
It has
I'm
yellow.
sorry. I'm looking at the wrong version. My apologies.
Okay, we can do that later.
don't
I
have
want to
it.
get
Yeah,
this one
no, I
right.
got it. Yeah.
So the yellow is right. That's what we need to be looking at. That has the right revenue sharing in it and the right expenditures. And we're $46,506 under LD1.
Could you repeat that?
$46,506 under LD1.
Thank you.
If I may, I just have a comment on the allocation of this extra money that we're looking at here. I think your allocation of taking care of personnel that have been left behind in increases, I think that's good. My initial reaction was, well, this is an ongoing expense for the future, but, and this is a one-time shot. We do need to take care of our people. And I think that's important. And I like the idea of putting it into capital because we are way behind in our capital accounts. And I think this is an opportunity to kind of catch up there. And we do need to catch up. Because our capital expenditures, if we look at the projections over the next 10 years, our capital budget needs are going to grow by, what, $400,000 a year or so? And so this is, now it's a nice
Well,
jump on it.
and, you know, we sacrificed a little bit with the municipal building, not putting that in, thinking, okay, well, we'll repair what we need to repair again. But we really need to replace the units. So that's why I put it, you know, that's why I didn't go with Johnny's, because he said he could get through. It's, you know, do I want to spend $15,000 to repair units that might last, the repair might last a year, or do I want to fix it?
Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
could be penny wise and pound foolish.
Well, that's,
And if it's an expenditure we're gonna have anyways, I think I'd rather do it right. And along with funding the capital accounts, we gotta do it, because we're gonna have to spend the money sooner or later. And
Right.
We'll have to raise the money in taxes later.
Right.
To put money in those accounts.
and it put us below where we were when we met the last time by just a little. Instead of being just a little over, we're a little bit under.
Below.
I mean, we could always say, if we want to anticipate more revenue sharing and go for more capital.
I think it's wise to just take part of it.
Did anybody have anything other, like, questions? Because I know, Bill, you've got to go and every people have to move along.
But the major point is, like Jan said, we could say, well, we'll use this to lower the mill rate. But if we do that this year, we're gonna have to bump it back up in the future.
My argument
my-
would be, we are using it to lower the mill rate because we're using it to restore services that otherwise would cost us money.
We have to, by the intent and the word of the law, we have to do that. To stabilize
I
the
mean, if-
taxes.
Just, well, or
Okay,
reduce,
no,
yeah, yeah, I see what you're saying.
We just need to be able to articulate that and how that's being done.
Well, I think we've.
Okay, so here, Peg said, yellow sheet is only the general fund. Waldeboro's share of capital is $510,968. The total fund is $547,890. And Peg, I believe you're going to tell me that the yellow, that includes the share that we have from our other towns, correct?
Yep.
Just seeing if she was there. There. Correct, Peg? I don't remember.
wish I could, I can't see the words.
I don't see her in the room.
No, but I can't, I'm trying to read
She's on
what.
YouTube Live. She's
Oh,
not on
Oh.
Zoom.
Okay.
That's why I was trying to get to YouTube Live.
What's the, under, I can see where it says chat or chart or
Says
something. What does that say?
Record
here?
on this computer. No. I can go on YouTube on my phone.
But that makes sense that the 547 would represent the number net of what Cushing and
Correct.
pay for the transfer
Correct.
station.
Okay.
That's what I was trying to get.
Okay.
Says chat or chart or something. What does that say? Record on this computer. I can go on YouTube.
That makes sense. Wait, there's quite a delay, isn't there?
Wow.
There
Yeah, there's a
is.
bit of a delay.
Wow.
I was trying to find the comments to see
Oh,
if I
oh,
could said anything.
I like hearing myself twice.
So, if I may,
Go.
so,
We love you, Bob, Bill.
no, you don't.
Keep going. Yes, I do.
So, when we're all said and done, we're gonna take $90,000, right? That's basically what's left after we give everybody their
Well,
portion.
There's still actually more money left.
There's more money left.
Right.
After
Let's
that.
say it's 90. I gotta throw a number out there. I think we can take $6,250 and put the library back to where they were.
I appreciate the sentiment, but the library's been through their budget 5 times this year. And I think
What are we doing tonight, Bubba?
I think the library can make do, as not much as appreciated it is, I think the library can make do with what the town is very
I think we
generous.
gotta get people back to where they
Provided.
were.
Well, we'll try to cover that next year when we have more certainty about where revenue sharing really is.
I miss Fridays at the library.
Sorry?
I miss Fridays at the library.
$6,000.
I do. I really do.
Yeah.
Oh, $6,000. You're gonna keep 83,750.
Well, I'm not gonna argue against it, but I'm taking myself out of the discussion because I feel, yeah, I appreciate the gesture, Bill. I really do.
No, I'm gonna move on, Julie.
You're moving, that's
I'm
fine.
not moving because I sent a message saying I'm gonna be late.
Okay. I'm sorry.
So, with all this said and done, now I'm looking in the future, and I've seen articles in the paper. And if the vote goes towards a park, who's funding that? And
Good question.
where the money's coming from?
Good question.
So,
Because I can tell you, I got $180,000. I can tell you that all day long, but I don't see it.
Won't find it here.
that's a really good question. And I did bring that up.
Question of the day.
I did bring that up at a meeting.
I'd much rather give the library $6,000 than worry about building another park.
Well,
Getting stuck with that.
so the issue with the park, and I'll be very candid. I asked that question. What are you expecting from the town? I hear the same thing, $180,000 pledge. They haven't really started. I can't sit here and tell you I know where that money's coming from. I heard it's a nonprofit. There's donations. I've not seen those documents. I've not seen pledges. I've not seen that. I don't know. When I asked about the grant that supposedly is attached to this in some way, that's something the town would have to, it would be a town grant. So technically, I believe Saran said to me, we would have to front the money, but we would get it back. There is not money in this budget to front money to matching grants for a park or to front money. I had asked to see the demolition quote because I know the demolition quote that she got was right, did she say $300,000?
She had 300.
$300,000. So the demolition quotes we had gotten, not John Daigle doing it, were anywhere from, I think it was 300,000
It's like
up to
360. It was 360.
up to 425.
Because
But that did not include the disposal cost because the landfill, the CCD landfill up at our transfer station was still open. So I don't have a number for you. So there's nothing in this budget that reflects anything for the park.
Well, hopefully I don't get censored, but I hope people vote it down.
Well, again, there's a lot of moving parts to that. And on the warrant, there's an explanatory statement and I mean, I hope everybody's clear on the explanatory statement. So the voter petition was, shall the town approve the creation of the A.D. Gray Park to be located on the property containing the former A.D. Gray School? It lists the block and lots and adjacent properties. This is their explanatory note. Petitioner's explanatory note to be included in the article. This municipal park would exist in perpetuity and be created without the use of town tax dollars. Creating the park would include removing the former A.D. Gray building, removing the obsolete tennis courts, and restoring the wetland and buffer area on the property. It is the petitioner's hope that in addition to the existing athletic fields, this park will eventually include a gazebo, children's playground, recreational courts, farmers market, and community gardens, which may or may not require private or public funds.
I hope you photocopy that, and if that passes, that you pass that out every budget meeting to say that there's no public funds going towards it.
Well, but it's a hard, so putting, it's hard for me to answer your question.
Yeah,
I can tell you there's no money in the budget to do
I
it.
know there's no budget money.
And we're but in all seriousness, and I wish more people were here to have this conversation, it's about resources. So we tasked, if you're going to go back to the 2018 comp plan that was adopted, we tasked the recreation committee. We sent out surveys.
One of the answers was elderly housing.
We sent out surveys. Well, there's right, but we sent out a survey specifically about the community center, and those surveys that were returned wanted a community center. If you look at the non-binding question, people wanted a community center. So you guys are going to have to figure out, the budget committee, when it comes down to
Well,
it.
you know I don't dispute a community center, and you know where I think it should go.
No, but what I'm saying is at some point, we've got to have that aired out too, is where, so you may want this, but you also want this.
No.
So how do we, where does all those resources go? So that's where it's going to get complicated. So even if this goes through, I don't know what that funding mechanism is going to look like. My concern was just recently on Facebook, I saw 2 different contractors telling me they had contracts. And I can assure everyone,
Contracts to what?
contracts to demolish the building and contracts to do landscaping.
I think they already got the jobs.
And
Wow.
Is
if
that through the town or through that CART group?
I don't, again, again, that's where a little bit of my confusion comes in. If you'll recall, I said that at the meeting was, if it's going to be town property, it has to be publicly bid. So
That's correct.
that's just the way it has to happen. So you can have a quote for something, but if it's publicly bid,
Doesn't mean you get
it doesn't mean you're getting it. And what those bids turn out to be. And I think I did ask her, and I might be misspeaking. But I believe I asked her, I'd love to see the bid, because I think that would be a great way, at least we'd know something. Again, with the funding, she seemed pretty sure I would get, well, not me personally, but we, the town, would get reimbursed. But again, I don't have any of those particulars. I really don't.
I have more faith in getting money from the state.
I'd want the money up front.
It's complicated, and how we are going to marry that. Is it coming over in one lump sum? Is it going to keep perpetuity? Is that a trust fund that's set up for the town? I don't have answers to those, but obviously if it does go through, those are going to have to be some significant issues.
Voted in.
Those are going to be issues we have to address. And again, we can't address those issues because I don't know.
We've asked for the numbers and we're not.
I just don't know.
received them. They won't give them up. So
So I don't have an answer for you on that one.
The other conundrum is, what if they both get voted in? It's within the realm of possibility that they could both get voted in. What do you do then? On the one hand, they're saying use the school,
Mhm.
and on the other hand, they're saying tear it down.
Well, as an old saying, I would hope the selectmen would, you know what, and make a decision.
Well, I don't think that is.
Unless you do
I'm not
both
trying to
without
put you in
taking
the
the building
spot.
No,
down.
I know,
It's
I wish, I just, I
definition
don't
of
like
art
when there is
that.
money involved and I don't have a good
It's
answer for it.
frustrating that that's gonna be voted on, and we're trying to do our best on a budget. Reward employees, try to put things back to normal. And there's a possibility of this,
But we can't deal with that tonight.
we're gonna have to deal with it if it gets voted in.
We may in the future, but we can't do it tonight.
Yeah, I did not put anything in the budget to cover
No,
anything. And I just,
I don't
I
expect it
can't
to.
speak
Mhm.
intelligently to it because I don't have the information. But if you would like to have a budget committee meeting, I can always ask Saran to come to the budget committee meeting. I'm sure she would.
I think we should wait till after the vote, see if we have to deal with it. Deal with it. That's- right.
We can talk about doing other things with the money. Do you want to spend some more? We're 46,506 under the tax levy limit. You know, if you want to talk about more,
And that would come out of,
$6,000 to put the library back.
and that would be out of the leftover revenue
Jan
sharing.
can go back on Fridays. Come on, man, it's $6,000. Puts them back to where they were.
I really support that too, the library. I know my family and the other families that I know like it back to normal. And I don't think it's a big amount of money, $6,000.
Right, and I think it shows the people we're trying to get things back to normal. We're trying. Here's the first step. We'll get the library back to normal. Then maybe the town office will be open 5 days a week. Down another few months.
I like the evening hour, actually.
the evening hours, I got to tell you, that's been,
Helps people at work.
it does. When we did 6, we even talked about that. People did seem to like it. I mean, that was something people really liked. But I do think maybe being a little later, we would have captured even more. The early morning people, sometimes that was too early.
It was my impression when you were talking about it earlier that they actually like this revised 4-day-a-week schedule.
Well, I would say Fridays is not our busiest day. Mondays are our busiest days because everybody goes and buys cars over the weekend, private sale, and
Yeah.
Monday morning,
Actually, I did. It was a sad day.
they want to come register Monday morning.
Yeah.
You know, so, but in that, like I said, the nighttime seems to be when people would be more happy. And yesterday was a perfect example of the office being closed. I was out front. If you can, register online if you need to renew. But you know what? I will tell you what happened yesterday. A lot of people were here to register vehicles, new vehicles, or renew a vehicle that were well past when they should have because of COVID. Everybody got this long reprieve. So I'm going to say half of the people yesterday, the ones that were most angry, I can't register my vehicle, were because they had waited much longer than they should have. Because I said, well, when did you buy the vehicle? Well, 6 months ago. Well.
Can you wait a few more days?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Well, I got stopped in this town and they said I had to come and they didn't care that you were closed for COVID. And I said, well, I'm sorry, but
But we're closed.
we weren't closed for the prior 6 months.
You don't have a choice when they do that to you.
Does somebody want to make a motion on on the select board for the library for what, 6250?
6250 is what I came up with,
$6,250.
which would make the community service budget a total of 93,604, I believe. We voted on 87,354. That's $6,250 shy from what they were getting back when they had that
Peg, I wish you were here to do the math.
75,000. Because we upped them to 68,750. So that made the total 87,354. And I'm sure Bob will correct me if I'm wrong. If we give them 6,250, that would make the total 93,604.
Yep.
You agree with those figures?
I do.
All right.
I did my math not in my head, but
So I just want to make sure I understand that you guys are discussing increasing the library budget by another 6,250,
6,750.
6,750.
No, 6,250.
6250.
It was at 75.
No, yeah, they were at 75.
Yeah.
But they're getting 68,750. We voted to give them 68,750.
Okay, I thought, you're right. I apologize. I'm
Can you
wrong
say that
again.
again? Because I don't think you're.
I'm wrong again, Bill, you're right.
He said that to me the other day at his kitchen table, too.
I'll say it again if you want me
Uh,
Still haven't heard a motion yet.
I move that we allocate $6,250 increase to the library.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion? Can you hear us, Katie?
Yes, I can.
Just double checking. You've been silent.
So this restores it back to the 2020 budget
yes.
figure.
6,250 to $93,604.
Oh, that's the overall.
Right. But that's what you have to vote on.
Right. But we're just gonna increase this, then go for that. All those in favor? Involved.
Aye.
I'm abstaining.
And Katie,
Aye.
so it's 401.
Okay, so the select board has voted to increase the library line item from 68,750 to 75,000. Even is it?
No, we actually got to vote the total. We just voted in the increase. So should we do another vote?
You got to vote the total.
Okay,
Yeah, you should. Select board should.
before you do that. So would somebody like to make a motion for the total,
Is it 93,604?
93,604?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Now you guys can.
Okay, I'm sorry, I missed the total amount,
93,604.
93,604. Okay, the select board has given us 93,604 for a total of the community services agencies, and this reflects restoring the library to the 2020 budget.
Right, which is $6,250 more.
Right, so the total for the library is now $75,000 again, which it was in 2020. And do you have any discussion? All those in favor?
Motion.
Oh.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay, second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
6.
John?
John Heller said.
John Heller's aye.
John's right there.
Okay, so that's 5, and I'm abstaining.
Right.
So
5-0.
5, 0, 0, or 5, 0,
1.
2 absent,
2-1.
2 absent, 1.
5-0-2-1.
We're still missing. We have missing Craig, Sandy?
Seth, watch it.
Okay, so 3 absent.
531. 5031.
5031.
So now we're down to just over 40,000 below LD1.
Julie, do you have a copy of the new warrant there?
I do, I have to change it.
Thank you.
Oh, you got,
Nope, we didn't get any.
oh, here's
No,
a
we didn't
warrant,
get 'em.
I'm sorry.
We didn't get any.
Okay. You need it?
Yeah, I think they're all for us.
We're all pretty good.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
These are the yellow ones you was talking about.
Yeah, that's why I have the wrong number.
Yeah.
Sorry.
All right. Yes.
Okay, so public library goes up to 70. Katie, did you vote for the community services?
Yes.
She did, right? We've got to vote all of these lines.
Individually?
Yeah. All it, and then you can. It is.
Yes. Does anybody else have anything other than what we've already discussed on this spreadsheet? The budget committee have anything? Other than the library, like Bill?
The
Presented?
comments on UCAS?
Yes.
I think.
Is there
this
anything else?
I think this is very good.
Anybody else have anything? Everything seems to be pretty quiet, so. So, that being said, would you like to read them off and we'll?
I can read them off. Office of Town Manager. The number is 143,832.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any more? Hearing none, all those in favor? Still there, Katie?
What page are we on? I can't,
That
what are we
white-
doing?
The white page. We got that sheet.
Sure.
If you look at the white page, it's,
Says
the new numbers.
FY 2022 budget summary,
Yep, I got it. Okay, okay.
or even the yellow page will do.
I don't have a yellow page.
Okay, those are pretty good.
It's 143,832 is what the number we're voting on. And that's an increase of 11,563.
Got it. Okay, I
Gotcha?
approve. Yep,
Okay, all those in favor?
I,
Okay.
Yep.
Now, does the budget committee want to go through this as well
Yeah.
individually? There you go.
Okay, the selectmen giving us number 143,832 for Office of the Town Manager. Discussion?
So moved.
Thank you. Any discussion now? All those in favor?
Aye.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Thank you.
Assessment services. Now 95,140. Is there a motion?
I move 95,141 for assessing department.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
I,
You get in trouble in school for that.
I know,
You're on your phone.
I know, she was in the back.
I can give her the credit.
Okay, so.
I'm supposed to be
Assessment
somewhere.
Services, we have a number of
So I'm late.
$95,141. We have a motion. Second,
Second.
thanks, Will. Any discussion? All those in favor? 603.
Finance and customer service. The new number is 222,554.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second,
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
I,
Budget committee?
Okay, how do we feel about $222,554 for finance customer service? We have a motion.
So moved.
Second. Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor? 603.
Town clerks.
I move 81,879 for the office of the town clerk.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
I,
Okay, town clerk, $81,879. Motion. Second,
Second.
any discussion? All those in favor? 603.
Fire services. The new number is 185,289.
So moved.
Is there a second?
second,
Go ahead.
second,
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
I,
Okay, fire services, 185,289.
I'll move that.
Thanks, Will. Second,
Second.
John. Any discussion? All those in favor? 603.
Police services. 900, the new number is 912,680.
So moved for the police department.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
I,
Okay, for police services, $912,680. Motion. Hold. Check. Second. Discussion. All in favor? 603.
Shellfish man.
Justin,
Oh, okay. I get you.
does he do shellfish board?
Right. Oh, he didn't get the raise.
Right.
I didn't realize it. Because we're not tax.
That would be my fault.
Sorry. The new number for shellfish management is 28,945.
So moved.
Is there a second?
second,
Any discussion?
And sorry, that was related to the shellfish one?
shellfish.
It's to the warden that says yes, because he's non-union.
Ah, okay, so it's actually a reduction from what we approved originally?
No, it's $629 increase. So he wasn't put in, I would say he wasn't put in for the raise.
I'm looking at the wrong line again.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm really doing well tonight, aren't I?
It's been a really long week.
Is there any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
I,
Okay, for shellfish management, we have $28,935. Second. Who moved?
I move.
Okay, thanks. All right, any discussion? All those in favor?
And emergency services, emergency management agency. The new number is 5,929.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Emergency Management Agency, $5,929.
So moved.
Any discussion? All those in favor? 03.
The next one is Public Works. The new number is 899, 257.
I'll move that.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Public Works, we have number 899, 257.
Almost.
Second. Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor? 03.
The General Assistance Program, the new number is 22,118.
I'll move 22,118 for general assistance.
Second,
Second.
any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Katie.
You're welcome.
General Assistance Program, $22,118. Discussion? All those in favor? 603.
Recreation. The new number is 83,337. Somebody like to make a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Recreation, 83,337 is that number.
So moved.
No discussion? All those in favor? 603.
The new number is 152,665. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Sorry, Abby, do we want to do Article 24 as well? It's not marked in yellow, but we know we changed that number after this.
We already did that.
Oh, did we do that already?
Mhm.
Oh, okay, sorry.
We're
Thank
not,
you.
they're not technically on the warrant yet.
I got it.
That's
Okay.
your bailiwick.
So, you guys are supposed
Yes, we just voted on. Yep.
to- Okay, planning development, 152,665.
So moved.
Okay, you have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? 6-0.
Now, other finance and use. The new number is 831,586. Would you like to make a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, there are other financing uses. We have 831,586. Motion on that.
Second.
Any discussion?
Is that where the line extra 6, the library would come out of?
No, we already did the library.
Right, okay. Oh, okay. I'll make sure it's right.
Find it, that makes sense.
More discussion? All those in favor? 203. Man.
Capital reserve, right? We
Capital,
have a new number for that total.
shall the town raise and appropriate the sum of 547,890?
It should be
510,
698.
960.
I wrote 6.
I wrote 960.
Okay.
Well, bear in mind that some of that is, Bob, correct me if I'm wrong. 510,698, because you have to transfer 36,922 from other sources.
That's transfer station.
That's the transfer station that has to come out of that.
1068.
510,968.
Is that the one we have to vote on?
It'd be 960.
510,968.
That's the number we have to vote
I believe so.
Can I ask who you guys are?
on. It's actually on the yellow page under capital revenue funds. Towards the bottom, towards the bottom, the other financing uses.
Right, yeah.
Get it?
Yes.
You positive?
Capital reserve funds, 510,968, because the 20 is up above the 320, 618. Yes, 510,968.
Is there a motion?
I'll move 510,968 for capital reserve funds.
Is there a second?
Second.
I have a question.
Any discussion?
In the budget book, under capital reserve, I have a total of 457 that we voted on. March. Here it says 420.
Where do you, I'm not even looking at,
This is what we voted
I
on?
think this is where that mistake was made. But right, and you have to add in, technically you have to add in the 30. This is the problem with transfers in and out. You're adding in the 36,992. So if you add 36,922, what do you get?
What's your numbers?
457,890 and 36,922.
36, 922.
Right. What do you get?
494. 440. 424.
What if we subtract that from this? This is expenses. We subtract, that's Friendship and Cushing, right?
That's Friendship and Cushing.
Okay, so that would give us 420 nights.
Yeah,
What you gotta
that's
do
what
is
you would do.
subtract it.
Okay.
Just add
Yeah,
it.
you have to
Okay,
subtract
so
it versus add it.
This is the Waldeboro portion.
That's the Waldeboro portion. So that 510,698 is the Waldeboro portion.
Okay, thank you. Very good.
Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Sorry,
Oh,
what,
sorry, Bob.
could you just reiterate, we're voting on the revised capital budget reserve fund.
Correct.
And the number we're voting on is the net number 510,962.
No, 510,968.
Sorry, 510,968. 968. Yeah, that's the number I've got. Okay, thank you. Sorry.
Is it 968?
Yeah.
968.
510.
Okay, got it.
Can I ask another question? Why are we voting on this number excluding Friendship and Cushing? Right? We voted including it.
I don't know. because that's what goes on the budget,
On the warrant.
well, on the warrant.
Okay.
We can't vote funds for Cushing
For
and
them,
Friendship to spend. But we can,
No, but the number we voted before had Cushing and Friendship in it.
that was something we probably shouldn't have done.
Transfer station budget.
Their revenues though,
So
right?
their revenues,
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so this is.
So
one
it's not, it
there's-
doesn't go into the capital reserve, it goes into the revenue.
Mhm.
Correct. So that's why
It's a revenue.
it's a revenue.
Okay, I understand the number, I just want to make sure that I'm voting without contradiction on this number and last.
I'm going by what we vote on the
Okay,
warrant. Because you're gonna vote that number in the revenue as anticipated revenue.
Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
I,
okay, so we have capital reserve fund. On the revenue side, we have 510, 968. Okay. Sharon, any discussion? All those in favor? 603.
What else?
I have a, may I ask a question? Mr. Chairman? We voted, 586,000, or I think we call it other financing uses. And I think that came off the yellow sheet.
When did we do that?
It was on the white sheet.
It was on the white one. It's number 46 on the white sheet.
Yep. 831,586.
Mhm.
Did we,
Right.
we voted that number, did we not?
Yes, we did.
Okay, what article does that correspond to? If you look at the warrant. The number we voted, the 831,586, is actually two numbers. It's
Right.
the sum of Articles 29 and 28.
Right,
Okay.
you're
just wanna make sure.
confusing apples and oranges because it's not, you don't follow these like you do this.
I'm following this.
Right, and we're doing this,
Okay,
sorry.
so but just to clarify, the 831,586 includes the transfer station, so that, includes the transfer station fund and the capital reserve.
That total number.
If you add those five, if you add
Yeah, the
five,
510,968,
Yep.
the transfer station, that's that total number.
I understand that, but if we voted.
But we already voted transfer station before.
All right, I just didn't want there to be any confusion going forward about the 831,586.
Right, but we didn't have to revote that. The transfer station portion.
So how do we record that vote? I'm sorry, I don't want to be a stickler. I just need to understand. That's all. Do we record that? We recorded it as other financing uses, not as an article. And so,
But that's how we've all I can say is that's how you've always done it.
okay, so
And
we're
then
gonna-
when you put it in here, you don't vote on the articles. This you shouldn't even be looking at right now. You should be looking at this, because I
Sure.
think that's where you're getting
all right,
confused.
it's clear in my mind. Thank you.
Because it's, yeah.
Yep.
You're getting confused.
Okay.
Now we gotta do total revenue.
We have to do capital expenses. Well,
You did the capital expenses under other financing uses.
Okay,
So you did your capital, you're done. Now you're on to revenue, and we vote one number for revenue.
That's 2,952,036.
No, because you have to add in the library.
Right.
So it's 2,958,286.
286.
Is there a motion on that?
I'll move that.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any
Could you give me the number again, please?
$2,958,000. No, $2,958,286.
Okay, I got it. Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so the revenue number we have here is 958,286. Any discussion? Those in favor? Good.
I think that's it. That's it. So now we just have to do this.
Yeah, just this one.
Yeah.
Can I ask a clarifying question about the budget process real quick?
Yes.
Okay, I want to make sure that I'm understanding this correctly. So the town is getting 795,819 in revenue sharing total.
No,
That's projected.
that's
That's the
projected.
projected. You're anticipating 266,475 plus the 6,250 for the library. No.
We are only anticipating $622,500 for revenue.
172.5 is what we.
Don't give her more. We're anticipating $622,500.
And that includes the library.
That's good.
That has nothing to do with the library.
It doesn't-
The library.
The library will be coming out of it.
Okay, you're anticipating getting 622,500 from the revenue share.
Correct.
And you're using the extra money. How much extra is that than what you thought you were getting?
172.5.
Correct.
172,500?
Yep.
Okay, and you're using that extra to increase salaries for department heads and other employees that did not get increases before.
Last 2 years. Yeah.
The last-
Non-union.
Non-union increases, the library and capital.
And fire.
Well,
That's
the
part of
cap.
capital.
That's part of
And
the
it's, we're not getting a fire truck. We're preparing if we receive a fire truck.
Okay, thank you.
applying code rate for, which anticipating we need 10% down for if we get the grant. Well, I guess you guys can adjourn.
We have a motion.
So moved.
Oh, that was quick. Okay, second. All those in favor? Oh, we didn't discuss it, guys. All right.
The
Yeah,
total
I was told,
expenditures out of that are 146,587
Okay.
out of that 172,500.
Read the material for you, Bob.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you,
we're-
Budget Committee.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Julie.
Thank you, Bill. You were very helpful tonight.
Love you. Thank you, guys. We'll see you next time.
Peg would just like to say, she's very sorry. It was a very long day yesterday and she'll do better next year.
It's okay.
She did, we had a really rough day.
You've done great.
She has done great. She really has.
Have a good night, Gordon.
Okay, now you can look at this, Bob.
Thank you.
You were getting confused.
Now we're gonna change
Well,
numbers in this, correct?
Right, I've got those for you.
You've written all that?
Okay, I have. That's what I was doing. So I think we should start on page 1. We have 5 candidates for select board. Russell Brazier Jr.
Brazier.
Brazier.
Bra-
Oh,
Brazier.
Not Brazier.
It's
Good
been
one.
a late night.
Good one, Jules.
Russell, what is it? Frazier?
Yes.
Frazier Jr., Seth Hall, Kevin Court, Abden Simmons, William Pratt. SAD 40 Board of Directors, Sandra O'Farrell, Karen Wellman, Jeanette Wheeler. Utility District Board of Trustees, Gordon Webster. Budget Committee, nobody put in.
We need one more for the utility district because there's 2 seats
Correct.
and only 1 candidate.
Just in case anybody is wondering, why is there not Article 1 and 2? That's picking your moderator and opening the election. So, municipal questions. Should any municipal budget question fail to pass, the town will authorize the select board to expend an amount not to exceed 3/12 of the previous year's appropriation. General government articles. And these just give the amounts. But what we did this year was, last year we had like 5 part-time members, but we're also putting in legal and information technology contracted services so that you know it's not just salaries. Because sometimes people think those amounts are just salaries. So we thought we better put it in there. So Article 4 remains the same. Article 5 is now $143,832. The vote was Select Board 5-0 and Budget Committee 603. Article 6 is now $95,141. I guess I don't have to. I should only read the ones we changed tonight. Okay. And we'll record the votes. If you go to Article,
We changed 6 as well.
we 6.
6, 7,
Right, we changed, right, but I was talking about what we changed tonight.
Article we did.
No,
Article 24 we changed tonight.
tonight.
Oh, I did.
You know what I'm saying, like Article 24, yes. So Article 24 should read, shall the town raise and appropriate the sum of $93,604. And under B, it should be Waldeboro Public Library, $75,000. If you turn the page to Article 29, 2 changes. Shall the town raise and appropriate the sum of $510,968 and transfer to the capital reserve fund for capital improvements? That number does not include Cushing and Friendship.
Right.
So that's a change. And then under fleet and equipment, E, public buildings was added for 50,000. Transportation improvements, that should read F, G, H, and I, because we added public buildings and I didn't realize that there was an E below it.
What was that? What was the total on that?
510,968.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, right there.
And then you have Article 30, that's the revenue number, 2,958,286.
Yep.
And then C, intergovernmental revenues would become 658,838. That's adding the 6,250 back. These are typically the articles that appear 32, Article 32, I'll just point that out because these are the two ordinance articles we have. Shall the town vote to amend the fire department insurance claim and restitution ordinance to allow for updating unit costs relating to billing? A copy of this ordinance is on file at the office of the town clerk. And Article 33, shall the town vote to amend the shellfish management ordinance to revise establishment of residency requirement from 3 months to 365 days for commercial shellfish harvesting licenses. A copy of this ordinance is on file at the office of the town clerk. And then you have Article 45 and 46. And again, Article 45 is what the town of Waldoboro is putting on for. Shall the town approve the creation of up to 36 units of affordable senior housing on the site of the former 80 Gray School and authorize the select board to convey the 80 Gray School property, and it lists the one lot, to Volunteers of America for $1 and on such other terms and conditions that the Board of Select Board. I thought I had changed that one. Deemed to be in the best interest of the town. Does anybody have any issues with that? That was what we were given by the attorney to be the appropriate language. And then Article 46 is by voter petition, shall the town approve the creation of the 80 Gray Park to be located on the property containing the former 80 Gray School, map U4, lot 63, and the adjacent properties located on map U4, lot 62, and map U5, lot 30. And the explanatory note, petitioner's explanatory note to be included with the article. This municipal park would exist in perpetuity and be created without the use of town tax dollars. Creating the park would include removing the former 80 Gray building, removing the obsolete tennis courts, and restoring the wetland and buffer area on the property. It is petitioner's hope that in addition to the existing athletic field, this park will eventually include a gazebo, children's playground, recreational courts, farmers market, and community gardens, which may or may not require public or private funds.
May I comment on that last article, please? It states in the note that there will be no tax dollars used for this park. And we've stated previously that if this passes, and if we're successful in obtaining grant money to pay for it, tax dollars will definitely be used because we have to front the money to build it. And the only way, unless we borrow from a bank, the only way we're going to be able to do that is to use tax dollars and hope that we get reimbursed. I mean, it reminds me of the transfer station situation we're facing right now. I think they're somewhat comparable. We capped the landfill, and we were reassured many times by DEP that we would get our money for that. And the understanding was it would happen quickly. Within a year of our fronting the money for that, we'd get our money back. Well, it's not going to happen that way. And now the prognosis is we're going to have to wait 5 years to get our money back. And we may not even get it back then. So I just want to make that clear.
Well, but I think you have to look at it like this. If it were to pass, I'm not convinced that is not in the budget. It's still going to require to be put, if we're going to expend public funds, it's going to have to be put in a budget. It's going to have to go through budget committee. It's going to have to go through select board. It's going to have to be placed on the town warrant and voted.
It doesn't talk about any building here. It talks about tearing down.
It does.
Talks about removing. There's no building.
That's right.
So, but even if we
Removal.
were to have to put up front money for the grant, that has to come from someplace in the budget.
It does.
So it would still require budget committee. I see what you're saying, but I don't think this question authorizes the use of public funds.
How can it? It's kind of, it's like an unfunded mandate in a way.
But
Well, there's a hope in there.
Yeah, there is a hope, yeah.
But I'm just saying, I don't think that this is not the authority to expend funds.
No.
Okay.
I like that.
That's a good
It's
way
not
to
the
put it.
authority to spend
That's a-
funds.
yeah,
The budget
That's good.
is the tool that gives the select board and the town the ability to expend funds. This does not.
Article 45 and Article 46 we're talking about. Could it be put in there that vote for one?
I asked that question to our attorney and she said no.
Because, okay, you know, in my thought, average person's gonna read them, yep, no problem. And then,
Mhm.
well, that solves nothing.
Then we'll
Well,
have to
and-
keep the building, turn it into whatever Article 45 says, and then the rest of it can be
I guess
46,
the only thing, just my opinion is
or you go back.
you don't vote for a budget for it. Because there's supposed to be tax dollars.
Right.
Tax dollars.
Right.
I mean, they're setting themselves.
And I think that's why you said there should be a bond with this so that somebody's protected.
But I even think, even though this is a petition to create this, there's still a lot of, and I can't think of the right word, other than bureaucracy that has to be accomplished here. It's
Problematic.
it's going, you know, let's cross each bridge as we get to it, but you're right, there are going to be some things that have to be ironed out. You know, and questions answered and things that we're going to have to explore. But again, yeah, funding does, I got Mr. Maxwell's point, and I always feel bad, but I don't have answers.
It's a
But-
conundrum, it is. What do you do though?
Yeah, because I did ask, can you choose one?
Yeah.
Is there a way to do that? She said no. If that, because it's a citizen's petition, it has to stand alone.
So when do we want us to come by and sign the approved?
Not until Monday.
Not till Monday. Okay. Can you even be open on Monday?
So I would like to spend some time to talk about that, if you don't mind. As you know, and we have been closed the last 2 days due to a COVID exposure in the office. I received a call on Wednesday morning prior to the opening of the office from the main CDC. When we had our previous issue, we did not receive a call from the CDC, so this was something different. The CDC called me, I closed the office, I had a conversation with the CDC, we had to provide a list of close contacts. That list was made up because I was asked questions that I answered, and I was told this is what would constitute close contact. I answered those questions. I provided a list. That list then was forwarded. Of course, I forwarded it to the CDC, but I also called everybody who was considered a close contact. The CDC then follows up with that, each individual on that list. So at this point, everybody, as of yesterday, I had contacted everybody who was close contact, and now the CDC has. 2 of us in the office were not considered a close contact by the rules of the CDC. I will say I am a fully vaccinated person. So I was not considered a close contact, nor did I have that kind of contact with the individual. Rose was out on Monday and on Tuesday did not have close contact with that individual. And I will say that Rose is religious and 95 mask wearer. So the rest of the office staff is in quarantine for all of next week. So starting Monday, it will be Rose and I.
Monday's a holiday.
Monday is not a holiday in the town of Waldeboro.
Okay. It's Patriots Day.
It is not a recognized holiday in Waldeboro. So
Library's closed.
the town office
Yeah, they're open.
is open. So Monday through Thursday of next week, it will just be Rose and I in the office because we are the only ones who did not have close contact. All the other employees are quarantining, and the ones that can work from home obviously will be working from home, and that's where we stand. So I put it up on Facebook and asked for everybody's patience and kindness. I will tell you this, yesterday and part of today was very eye-opening to me of the level of frustration of the public and COVID. There were some very kind and wonderful people who were here, and there were some people who were just angry and did not care that we had to be closed. It was just, I should fix it in some way. And I can assure everyone I was doing my best to do whatever we could. I tried to return every single phone call that came in yesterday. One person returning all of those phone calls is a lot of phone calls. But this morning I was greeted with some very unhappy people, and I grasped that they were unhappy, but we also had to have time. And what people didn't realize is that we had to clean the building.
Right.
So at some point this morning, we had to have a deep cleaning. This room had to be cleaned so that we could use it tonight. So, I couldn't really have people coming in while there was cleaning coming on. So it was it did really, people I think are getting a false sense of security that it's all okay because people are getting vaccinated, and we have to follow the rules. We just have to follow the rules. And I will tell you, when you step out of the shower and you get a call from the CDC, your heart sinks a little bit because you're not expecting that. But we're doing the best we can. I know, and I will tell you, Rose came in for part of the day today. There were several people who had new vehicles that needed to get registered, and she accommodated those people. So I think that speaks volumes to the staff that we have. So I spent a good portion of my day being the assessor's assistant, the town clerk,
Everything.
the community navigator, town manager. So it was an interesting day. And then we launched the Upweller. So it was all good. But we're still laughing. So I spent a lot of time singing to Rose. Just the two of us, you and I. So we will see. We'll see how good of a mood we're in next week at this time. So I hope,
Now we go vote on this, correct?
Yes, you do. I forgot that part.
No.
I'm sorry. I got waylaid. Go ahead.
So would somebody like to make a motion on the warrant?
I move that we approve the warrant as amended at tonight's meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
What I would ask of you is that I will make all of these changes, and I would love it. I'll send it out tomorrow. If you could all proof it. And if you find anything, let me know. And those changes would not be substantive changes, only typographical changes. So we can approve it. And then Monday, I'll have a clean copy for you, sign it. the school, it was acting on their budget tonight, so I should have them. If I get these out by Tuesday, we will have them in time for me to be on time for absentee ballots. So we're excited.
You can do that even though you're gonna have to be operating at like a third of your, the eighth of your staff.
Well, I will be honest with you, it doesn't matter because that takes precedent.
Yep.
There doesn't matter what else is happening, we have to do that. You know, there's no choice there. And the only other thing I would say is that because of this, we may not have the town report the day of the election. We will try very hard, but Tanya's been working on that and very, very hard. So we will try to figure out if there's a way. I mean, Lincoln County News has been great about always getting it to us in time, but Tanya really needed to have it out the end of this week, beginning of next, to guarantee. So we're kind of behind the eight ball.
Is that it? Somebody like to make a motion to adjourn?
So
moved.
Is there a second? Second. All those in favor?